Hi everyone, my name is Desiree. I'm 18 years old and I'm currently studying in the University of Prasemulia. Right now I'm majoring in hospitality business, and this video you're watching is going to be a recap of what I've learned this past 3 months, I believe, for this half semester that I've been studying in Prasemulia for one of my subjects, which is community development. So if you're watching this and if my professor Parada is watching this, hope you like this video and let's get into it. Okay, so for the first lesson that I've learned is about work ethics, where we learn how to be professionals and what are the criteria to do so. And within those lessons, I also had a task where I had to do an interview, and my interviewee was really kind and he was really motivating, and I've learned so much from him. So my interviewee, he has worked in the hospitality industry for more than 30 years, and the most employees that he's worked with was like over 400 employees, but due to this pandemic, now he works around 100 employees. What I've learned is to be honest when I work, to communicate really well with my team, to really have the passion in that working industry. So for example, if I love to cook, I should really have the passion to be a chef. And that in the hospitality industry, we are going to give services. So there's going to be positive feedbacks and there's going to be negative feedbacks. And because of that, he also told me that in this industry, I need to learn how to not take things too personally, so I could handle the criticism well and learn from my mistakes. And yeah, and because because who I interview is a professional, quite high professional, he also taught me on how to be in that position, especially a leader's position. So he told me that when you have your team, especially your followers who are your team, like your anak bawahan, he told me that I should be really well organized and well structured and make sure there is no flaw in between. So it's like I should make sure whenever we work, they always have a task to do. That would be it. And when I interviewed him, I was actually really nervous, but he was a very fun person to talk to, and it was like him telling about what his experience is. And I hope that in the future I can also do that to other students when I had my experience in working, and hopefully with the knowledge that he gave me, I can use that when I work in the future and also for my future team. So now for the second lesson that I've learned in this semester is sustainable development goals. Wow, that is a lot. Or in short, we call them SDG, which I'm gonna say in this video because it has a very long name. So if I'm not mistaken, SDG is established from the United Nations, and they have 17 goals in total, which are here, as you can see. But the goal that I'm mainly focusing on is going to be gender equality. That was also the goals that I had to do during an interview for the interviewee, which I'm going to talk about in a few seconds. So in short, what I'm going to talk about is gender equality. So NANI? So for me, gender equality is when everyone in this world has equal rights, whether when it is during when you go to work, or when you're in university, or when you're as a citizen of your country. And by gender equality, we're granting all rights regardless of your gender, whether you're a woman, men, and now we have the LGBTQ community, so now we have a lot of genders. And remember to learn their pronouns as well. That's a lot. But sadly, to this day, our world, we're still fighting for equal rights, especially as women. But along with those times, there has been some progress where fewer women are forced into marriage. Now there's more girls who are going into education, and there's also now more jobs for women to where we are take part in parliaments and high positions in companies. Now, however, like I say, even though there's a progress, there is still challenges that we face, and sadly now 1 in every 5 women from the age between 15 and 19 have been reported to be sexually assaulted either by their partners or even strangers, and that is only for the ones who have been reported from the age of 15 to 19. So we still haven't know how much cases there are for those who those who did not report. Now, like what I said before for the work ethics, for the SDG this time, I also have a task where I interview someone who's worked for that particular sustainable SDG goals. So during my interview, we interview with a kakak from Women's March Jakarta, and it was really inspiring, and I felt really excited to interview her because I have been following a bit on Women's March, and it's actually I hope I can kind of help their organization in a way one day in the future. So yeah, and what I've learned from the kakak interviewee was that Indonesia is still a very conservative country, and there aren't many people who are still open to the idea of equal rights. So that is why one of their goals for Women's March is so people to learn and have more information about gender equality. Now, by doing so, what I've learned to help for the SDG goals is I learned more, and I wouldn't just focus on this one particular goal of gender equality. There's also a lot of goals that I have shown before as well. For example, animals below water, and then equal education. So we can just also focus on other goals, and by that we can also do by joining charities, helping to donate. But not only that, we can also help by gaining more knowledge about what those SDGs are, whether by joining seminars or since now we have social media, we can follow the social medias who support those type of goals. And even though it is not something small that we did, the act that we did isn't something small, what I've learned from the interview is that even from a small act, it will be impactful to the society. So what I've learned for this past 3 months, because it's still a half semester, what I've learned for this past 3 months was that to be a professional, you should really love about what you're working on. You should love what you work, and you should always be truthful. So don't cover up because you're afraid to make mistakes. And I realized that in this working industry, we work with a lot of team. We do a lot of teamwork, and that was one thing I was shocked with, because usually my mind concept is that when I was younger, when we have to work, it's just usually in a cubicle and you're working by yourself. But turns out we do a lot of teamwork, a lot of discussion with our teams, and try to find solutions. A lesson that I've learned from both the work ethics and the SDGs is that it is really nice to gain more knowledge, and not only gaining knowledge, we can also share it to other people, and so they could also learn from our mistakes and also learn from what we have learned from others. I think that was a voice crack. So yeah. So that will be all, and I hope the information that I gave to you will also be useful like it has been for me. And yeah, bye bye.